Okay, this lesson is on plotting rational and irrational numbers. So, let's get to it. It says plot each number on the number line. Plot means dot. So each of these numbers will have a dot on this number line. Let's start with the square root of 2. So I'm going to draw another number line down here and think about it. Square root of 2 would be between the square root of 1 and the square root of 4. So the square root of 2 would be over here. The square root of 1 is 1. Square root of 4 is 2. So it's going to be between 1 and 2, but it's closer to the 1. So now I'm going to take this and put it over here. So here's 1, here's 2. It's going to be closer to the 1, and I need to label that with the square root of 2. The next number that we have is 2/3. 2/3, I notice that the numerator is smaller than the denominator. That means it is a proper fraction, and proper fractions always go between 0 and 1. So here's 0, here's 1. If I broke it into 3 pieces like this, this would be 0/3, 1/3, 2/3, and then 3/3 would be over here. So this is where 2/3 would go, a little closer to the 1 than to the 0. Okay, -1 and 3/8. So if I start at 0, here's -1, and the 3/8, we're going to go just a little bit further to put the point. This would be -1 and 3/8. 4/8 would be a half. So I know it's not quite that far. It's not quite -1.5. It's just a little bit closer to the -1. 2 pi means 2 times pi. So that'd be 2 times 3.14, blah, blah, blah. And so that'd be about 6.28. So over here it'll be a little bit past the 6. That's where we will put 2 pi. Okay, negative square root of 8 is a little different. If we just think about positive square root of 8 for a second, that would be between the square root of 4 and the square root of 9. The square root of 4 is the whole number 2. Square root of 9 is the whole number 3. And then if we fill that in, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is where the square root of 8 would go. It's between 2 and 3, but it's closer to the 3. Our only problem is this is negative. And because it's negative, we're going to flip it around. So this would be the square root, negative square root of 9, negative square root of 4. So if I put square root of 8, it's going to be closer to the -3. So it'll be between -2 and -3, but closer to the -3. So when it's negative, you have to flip it around since we're going left instead of right. Okay, pi over 2 would be about 3.14 over 2. And so if you just think about this being 3, half of 3 is 1.5, so a little bigger than 1.5. And if you did this on your calculator, you could get a number for that. I'm going to do that really quick. So we get 1.57. So about 1.57. So a little bigger than 1.5. So here's 1. There's 2. 1.5's here. Just a little bit past that. That would be pi over 2 right there. All right, negative 7.7 should be pretty easy. So it's going to be, if I go left, here's negative 7, and then 0.7 would be a little bit bigger than a half. It's going to right there, negative 7.7. It'll be closer to the negative 8 than it is the negative 7. Square root of 9 is a perfect square. It's just 3, and that's because 3 squared is 9. So the square root of 9 is just going to go where the 3 is. Sorry, I keep breaking my pencil lead. So that'll go right there. 5.2 would just be between 5 and 6, a little bit past the 5. 10 halves actually reduces to 5 over 1, which is just 5. So right here on 5, I'll put 10 halves. Oops, I didn't label 5.2. Let me put that label on there. Okay, then we have an improper fraction, negative 3 halves. Let me scooch this down a little bit. Slide my tray over. So negative 3 halves, if we make it into a mixed number, 2 goes into 3 one time. 1 times 2 is 2. Subtract, we get a remainder of 1, which means I have 1/2. So this would be negative 1.5. You could also divide this on your calculator and get negative 1.5. So negative 1.5 would be right here. So that's negative 3 halves. It's almost running into the negative 1 3/8. Our last number is pi squared. So pi squared would mean pi times pi, which would be 3.14 times 3.14. And that comes out about 9.85. So almost 10. It'll be between 9 and 10, but almost 10 would be pi squared. So I did this on my calculator and then figured out where it went. So when it says to plot, you're going to put a dot for each number and figure out about where it goes.